Hey everyone, welcome to the Jewish Physician Network's Pre-Med video series. Today we're going to speak about what does it mean to be pre-med. Pre-med, we hear everyone say it. What does that mean? So we're going to cover three very important questions in this video. First, what does it mean to be pre-med? Like I just said, everyone says, I'm pre-med. Are you pre-med? What does that mean exactly? What classes do you need to take in order to be pre-med? And then last, when should you take those classes? So first, let's start. What does it mean to be pre-med? So pre-med means that you're tailoring your undergraduate education and experiences with the intention of applying to medical school. Everything you're doing now as an undergraduate student, or if you're trying to become an undergraduate pre-med student, know that everything that you do in terms of your education and experiences, you are doing to try to get into a medical school. So is it anything official to be pre-med? Right, we hear people say, I'm pre-med, you're pre-med. Does that just mean that we're taking classes that are pre-med? We're doing experiences that are pre-med? What does that mean? So really, it depends. And this varies by school. It's important to talk to your advisor and see if your school has any pre-med requirements outside of taking those classes. Some schools have a pre-med track that you may be required to register for if you want your school to sign off on your med school application at a later date. For example, something like a committee letter, some schools may require that you register on a pre-med track in order for you to get that. And if you don't understand what that is, don't worry, we'll cover that in a later video. The important takeaway is that some schools, it is something official to be pre-med, and you should check with your advisor, read your school's website, and find out if there's something that you need to do to be pre-med. If there is, go ahead and do that. And if there isn't, don't worry. We're going to cover what it means to be pre-med if you don't have something official in the very next slide. So if you're not official, or if you are official, what classes do you need to take to be a pre-med student? So the most important classes for pre-med may or may not be classes you need for your degree. If you're a bachelor's of science, or if you're pursuing a bachelor's of science, there's a good chance a lot of these will be requirements for your degree. But if you're pursuing a BA, or if you're pursuing a degree that is not necessarily scientifically oriented, there's a good chance these won't be requirements for your degree. So it's important that if you want to be a pre-med student, that you still take these classes, even if they're not requirements for your degree. So the classes that I'm about to list are necessary to perform well on the MCAT, but there may be other classes that specific med schools require that you take before you go to their school. So while this list has the core classes, know that it's not exhaustive, and there may be some med schools that have more requirements than the ones you see here. So we'll start with biology 1 and 2, and that generally includes the labs, chem 1 and 2, organic chemistry 1 and 2, and I'll explain in a minute why we divided those, biochem, physics 1 and 2 in the labs, intro to psychology, intro to sociology, or another behavioral science class, a basic statistics class, and then advanced science classes. So that could be anatomy, it could be microbiology, it could be some cell biology, it could be advanced biochem, it could be advanced chemistry, and then English or writing classes. So the core classes that you must take before the MCAT are these right here: Bio 1 and 2, Chem 1 and 2, Orgo 1, Biochem, Physics 1 and 2. The rest are either not heavily tested on the MCAT, or like in the case of psychology, there's things that you can just self-teach that you don't necessarily need to get in a class before you take the MCAT. However, these core classes, including biochemistry, are really, really important to take before the MCAT if you want to do well. And the other one, Orgo 2, the rest you can take after the MCATs. If you have time, you can take them before the MCATs. But these are the classes that you need to take to do well on the MCAT and to matriculate to medical school. So when should you take those classes? So as a pre-med student, again, your focus should be on getting ready to take the MCATs and applying to medical school, not necessarily the classes for your degree. Start by identifying your rough target MCAT date. You could be just starting out, you can still be a high school student. The important thing is know when you want to take the MCATs. And remember that the MCATs take place before you begin your med school application process. And the med school application process takes place over a year before you want to actually go to medical school. So it's important to look into the future and plan out how you want to do this. Make sure that you have enough time to do the necessary pre-MCAT coursework. And that was the stuff that we highlighted in red. Your Bio 1 and 2, your Chem 1 and 2, your Orgo 1, your Biochem, your Physics 1 and 2, even at the expense of your major or degree coursework. If you're a BA in philosophy and you have a bunch of philosophy classes that you need to take, those are really great, but they won't necessarily help you do well on the MCAT. If you want to do well on the MCAT, it's important to focus on these in the beginning of your undergraduate education, and then you can focus on your major or degree coursework after you take the MCATs. It's the most important thing is to stay organized and plan future semesters out in advance. Also, maintain an appropriate course load to the best of your ability. So these classes are really hard classes and they're really heavy. You know, it may not be easy to take Orgo and physics and trying to keep up with all your classes, but med schools want to see, they like to see that you're able to maintain a heavy course load. Because when you get to medical school, they want to see that you're capable of balancing it all. So while it's important to plan things out and spread things out so that you're not too stressed and you can complete everything successfully, it's also important to recognize that med schools will look how you schedule your classes. Last, download and fill in JPN's pre-med course schedule to stay organized. The download link will be in the video description below. And here's an example. We have the complete list of classes that you should take, along with our recommendation of whether you should take them before the MCATs. And we also have a scheduler, a calendar where you can put in exactly what classes you want to take in which semesters, so you can stay organized, you can be ready for the MCAT when you want to take it, and you can do well.